Hi angels! So today we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic, but before we jump into this video, you guys should already be following me on Instagram. That'll be over here. Also, not sure if you guys know this, but I get a lot of DMs of people asking me for advice and different things like that, which is completely fine. And due to the fact that I get so many all the time, the absolute best way to get in contact with me is via Wizio. So that will be in the description box below, or you can go to my Instagram. I have a highlight tab that says need advice, and you guys can click on that and swipe up, because I understand that sometimes we just want someone to talk to. I have so many different options on there. You can just vent to me, tell me about your day, or you could just ask me advice, which is a lot of the time what people do ask me for. And this is very unique because you guys actually get a video, personal video from me. So a lot of the time you guys are emailing me, DMing me. This is the absolute best way to get in contact with me, because I will guaranteed see it all on there. Because in my email, it's mainly for business, so I get a lot of different business emails, and everything will drown out. And my DMs are always usually flooded, so I don't get to everyone in the best way like I would want to. So be sure to check that out. And lastly, we have a goal on this channel, 200K, okay? So I'm gonna need you, if this is your first video here, first of all, hi. My name is Asha Christina, very nice to meet you. I need you to subscribe because I need you to join the A-team, okay? And I need you, while you're at it, to thumbs up this video, and also comment if you wanna see more videos like this one. So with that being said, let's get right on into this video. This is a very, very popular subject, I should say. And I really feel like it's very timely. How do you know if a guy really wants you? What is the difference between love and lust? So this is actually inspired by an article that I read by one of my favorite people, GL Lambert. I'll actually link the article in the description box below as well. But I really want to dive into this topic. So guys say a lot of things. I mean, people honestly say a lot of things all the time. Guys will even go as far as saying the L word, love, and not even love you. Now, what's that about? Let's dive on into it. I completely understand people being skeptical, especially the dating pool, the dating culture in the world today. I am outside of my body. It is, it's less than stellar. It's subpar. We don't like it here. It's ghetto. However, I want to point this out. The purpose of this channel is not to get you to hate men. This is not a hate train sort of thing. My job is to put you guys on to the dating culture and hopefully get you guys to better understand how men operate to the best of my ability, obviously, because I still am a woman. A lot of the times our experiences do shape us, but I don't want that to jade you in any way or permit you to have a pessimistic outlook on dating as a whole. So now, because men are lust driven, they do not trust their feelings. And that's why a lot of the times you'll see guys that will stay with a girl that they shouldn't be with, and well, conveniently, the ones that they should be with, the ones that they would be most compatible with, they tend to kind of treat like they are disposable. And because a lot of the times, more times than not, this happens to guys, they actually do get hurt very often and early. Because imagine this, imagine constantly choosing people solely on their looks all the time. I mean, I like good-looking people, you know, but good-looking is arbitrary, right? So as you evolve as a woman, as a wise person, you cannot make decisions solely based on how people look, because once that sort of dies down and you get used to someone, then you got to deal with their personality. You got to deal with a multitude of different factors outside of their appearance. And that's when the real work actually starts to kick in. But because men do this, and they oftentimes choose people for the wrong reasons sometimes, that leads them to start playing games. So let's be clear on this. If you don't know, now you know, lust fades. Why? Because it's not sustainable. And like GL said, that's why we find ourselves in situations where there's poor communication after a while, or we get ghosted. And that's because, well, a lot of the times when they come in hot and heavy, they leave just like that. How you get them is always how you lose them, all right? That same intensity and that passion that they had in pursuing you, they do the exact opposite. They leave, ghosts, no trace, nothing, no words, nothing. They just cease all communication, leaving you confused. And this is what I really like that he mentions. GL says in the same article that love is when lust comes floating down, not crashing down. And I actually agree with this. You know, there was this lady one time that said to me that the guy that you're meant to be with is not going to make you feel super jittery and anxious all the time. It's going to be somebody that you feel very serene with, someone that you feel very much at peace with. Because I can't think of a time where I've been super, super anxious to, hear back from a guy, or there was this like very strong, antsy, sort of anxious feeling. It was exciting nonetheless, but it was just this feeling that I'm trying my best to articulate it. But I now know, being older, that situations like that are not sustainable. Because at the end of the day, when the honeymoon stage ends, because it will, the shallow wants need to progress and migrate over into the need to want to be with a person forever. A man will go all out for you, and you don't have to ask and to coax him into, hey, do you think you can kind of do this for me? Like, oh my God, he's not doing. Because I get a lot of those DMs too. Girls are like, oh, my boyfriend used to do this and now he's not anymore. And we're going to get into why that actually happens a little bit later on into this video. So while you're at it, make sure you watch till the end. Make sure you keep watching. Thank you. So as I've said in previous videos, we know that men test women, right? But a man that has been really hurt in the past, and I have a theory, guys do take, longer to get to that emotion for multiple reasons, but definitely partially because they definitely fall way harder, and it takes a longer time for guys to fall out of love than it does for women. Like, we can just tolerate so much. We have so much flexibility and elasticity, and we have the courage to love again. A guy gets hurt one time and he will never love again. He will declare that he will never love again. Obviously that's not healthy, but that's what a lot of them do. So like I was saying, a guy that has been hurt definitely in the past is going to test you way beyond measure than he actually should, trying to avoid getting hurt. Now, for the emotionally stable woman and wise women, they're not going to be trying to pass all these tests, because who wants their loyalty and their commitment, or whether they're worthy, to constantly be tested by someone? It feels like you never can catch a break. The reason why this happens is because some guys, they self-sabotage themselves because they don't feel good enough. So here are a couple factors that actually come into play that can reassure you while you observe, communicate, and test him yourself to see what kind of dynamic you have. Are you in a loving relationship or headed towards that direction, or is it just lust? And the reason why, again, I find this so significant to actually share with you, angels, is because this is from a male perspective. Yeah, I didn't make the rules. So how do you know he's falling for you? Well, number one, he respects you. Bottom line. And I'm not talking about sometimes, and only when he gets mad, then he'll say really, really mean things, but that's only when he's mad. Okay, but he's getting mad every week. Okay, but he takes no interest in any of the things that you want to do. Okay, but you're always the one reaching out and initiating plans. A man cannot love you without respecting you. He has to be interested in your thoughts, your opinions, your goals. And equally, he also finds comfort in confiding in you as well. So he shares his concerns, maybe some of his past traumas, how he was raised, like more on a deeper level, and, different stresses in detail. That means something. And why is this significant? Because he trusts you enough to be vulnerable with you, okay? He offers solutions to your problems instead of criticizing you. Oh, I had this go on at work and, so-and-so said this to me. And I don't really know why she said that. Like, I feel really upset. Instead of saying, well, you know how you are with your mouth. You're always jabbing off of the mouth. Maybe you should learn to shut up, here and there. Or instead he'll say, yeah, babe, honestly, I do hear what you're saying, and I don't know why so-and-so acted the way that she did, but maybe you should do this, or how about you do this? They're solution-based. He also informs you on the moves he's making, not because he feels like he has to, or that he has to in general, but just because exchanging information as partners means that he values you. Because we all have been in a situation where it was a little one-sided, where you either felt like you were giving way, way more than you were getting, that you were essentially in a relationship by yourself. Any sort of conversation in any capacity had to be initiated by you, especially as it pertains to anything of substance has to be initiated by you. Even at best, it's like pulling teeth at the same time. Give me a break. Oh my gosh. Number 2, he treats you well. Now, of course, this is quite obvious, but what do I mean by this? Bottom line rule number 1, you do not have to tell a man that genuinely loves you how to treat you. You don't. He will be naturally more attentive to you and more sensitive to your needs because he wants to figure out how he can have a solid place in your life. It is his mission to see you happy. And guys that genuinely love you, are falling in love with you, they're definitely going to put in effort and the mental effort based on your standards. And there's a part in the article that I really, really love where GL talks about how a lot of the times, especially these days, a lot of women are trying really hard to prove their independence. And it translates as being very hard and tough. This I don't need a man sort of attitude and mentality. And what I want you guys to know, like I even said in my last video, you can very much be independent and still be super feminine. And if this is your first time hearing this, yeah, it's possible. You cannot have and lead with this sort of mentality of, I don't need a guy to do anything for me. I can do it on my own. And kind of have this sort of independent queen mentality, but then you complain, whether that's outwardly or secretly, about not being treated like a princess. What are you leading with? Feminine energy always complements masculine energy. If you want a guy to fulfill that masculine role and to be more of an alpha male, then you have to have that feminine energy. I don't know if it's science or not, but that's just so far the rules of life. And I really want you guys to understand that there's nothing wrong with making your own money. I think women should absolutely make their own money because you don't want to be dependent on, anyone. And it's important for you to have your own thing, going on. Even I saw in the comments, someone wrote to me and said that I was wrong about alpha males wanting to feel needed. That basically what that individual felt that I was insinuating was that men want to feel needed by women financially, which to me was just very ridiculous to hear because I actually disagree with that statement. I actually feel quite the opposite. I actually don't feel that men want to feel needed financially whatsoever. When I talk about men feeling needed, I mean in the sense of just protecting. And even as it pertains to my last video, the specific example that I gave was in regards to a man doing, you know, something handy. Oh, babe, can you lift this up for me? Can you pick this up? Can you do, like, little things like that? Being useful. Like, I'm not solely talking about being someone's 100% financial backing, just because I don't think that's wise, especially now in 2020. It's important for women to make their own money and have their own thing going on, because it gives you self-esteem. It gives you something to do so that you're not up under someone else. I think there's always something that we can all be pursuing on our own, but I digress. So just keep in mind, you cannot be super aggressive and demanding. You know, you're sitting at dinner and you're like, so are you going to pay this bill or not? Like, I really don't like going out with bums, and I don't like to hang out with people that are like bums. So, are you paying this bill or not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be strategic, and you have to know how to use your femininity. And if you don't have that, you know, learn about it, tap into it. I think I have a video on it. I probably need to make another one. Let me know if you want me to make another video about that. It's important to tap into that, because that taps into that instinct in an alpha male to make them want to provide, to make them want to do what it is that they're supposed to do. So when you take that option away from them, like, oh, I got the bill because I don't need a man to pay for my bill. What? You thought that I couldn't pay for this myself? Are you saying that I'm incapable of providing for myself? You know, like, when you take that away from them, you're kind of catering to their lazy side, and then, you know, robbing yourself of the treatment that you deserve. So it is very important to show them how to treat you, okay? So I also get a lot of questions about this too, where, you know, girls are saying like, oh, like, my boyfriend's making me pay like half of this and half of that, and I don't really know how to switch it because I was always very low maintenance in the beginning. And I'm like, it's very difficult, and I think even borderline impossible, to get that full treatment the way that you may want, because you already started out so low maintenance, because you didn't want to come across as like a user or like a gold digger. But at the end of the day, you still want these things. Who you are is who you are. So you pretending to be something else or dimming down what it is that you really wanted has to come out eventually. And you can't expect him to all of a sudden, you know, switch up on you. It's just like this. And I know this happens probably a lot, but let's just throw this example out there. Let's say that you were living, you know, at home with your parents for, you know, a certain amount of time. And then out of nowhere, your parents are like, well, we want you to start paying rent here. I understand this happens a lot, but I'm just saying, initially, you're going to be like, wait, what? I've been living here my entire life. Like, why would I like, you know, be paying rent here? You're initially, upon hearing it, you're going to have a little bit of an attitude and feel like, why am I paying for something that I've been getting for free this entire time? Now, of course, depending on whatever your situation is, you probably have to help your parents out, whatever the case is. But let's look at the principle of what it is that I'm saying. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to reframe how you're being treated when you already been with this guy for what, 2 years, a year, and all you've been doing is going to Red Lobster and Olive Garden and things like that. Even your first date was happy hour. He automatically probably thought, okay, well, that's all it really takes to really get her. So, I mean, why is he going to all of a sudden start, I don't know, taking you to, I don't know, some sort of top tier steakhouse or something like that? I don't eat steak, but you catch my drift. Number 3, he communicates effectively. This is huge. A man that is interested will not let massive amounts of time pass by in between communication with you. It doesn't matter what his profession is. Oh yeah, like, you know, I haven't spoken to this guy that I'm talking to in like a week because he works in construction, or he's like the CEO of a company, so he's always super busy. He owns his own firm, and I don't want to, like, you know, bother him. So like, I don't really, you know, care if he like messages me that much, because it doesn't matter. But doesn't it though? Because you can always tell, like I've said in a million different videos, how do you know when someone's thinking about you or a guy's thinking about you? He's gonna hit you up. It's not rocket science. And if you find yourself in a position where, which you probably wouldn't even know, if a guy is thinking about you and he doesn't hit you up, right, literally at all, and then you get one of those stupid messages where here you are initiating the conversation, and then here he goes, I was just about to message you, but I just been working all day. I just been so tired. I just, I didn't want to bother you. I just figured I would just, hit you up in the morning. Okay, well, it's been a week since I've heard from you, and you're talking about what's present right now. Yeah, because they play that trick too. Are you guys picking up what I'm laying down? It's kind of like you accusing someone, let's say rightfully so, of cheating on you, and they're saying, no, I'm not cheating on you. But what they really mean is, I'm not cheating on you right now. There's no one in my house right now. In an hour, maybe, but you asked me if I was cheating on you, and I'm not right now. So that means no. That's how, when people play games, they get really crafty with their answers conveniently. Love mandates how often you want to hear from a person. Love mandates that you want to hear that person's voice. You want to hear about their day. I don't care what time it is. I don't care if you got home at 2 o'clock in the morning. Even if the conversation is 30 seconds long. Hey babe, I just wanted to check on you to make sure you got home safe. Whatever it's gonna be, even if it's a text, communication. So what does it exactly mean if you haven't heard from a guy in a week? It means he doesn't care. There is no one that busy. How do I know? Because he had the same job when he met you, same hours, same, everything same. He was, at that time, when he was trying to reel you in, messaging you all the time. You couldn't even keep up with how many times he was communicating with you. But now, ghost town. It means he doesn't care. And we have to read it as is. I know it's tough. I know it's very difficult, especially when, naturally, if you're talking to someone, you're talking to them for a month or whatever the case is. Come on. I'm not stupid. Naturally, you're going to catch a little feeling, just a little feelings. But we have to just read the writing on the wall. Actions. What are his actions saying? How is it that you've been thinking about me all week, but I don't hear from you? Since when do we think about people and we don't communicate with them? Because if that's the case, that's a data point right there, right? Oh, so now I know that you can want to do something so bad, but for whatever reason, you won't do it. So now I know that about you too, and I don't really like that. You shouldn't even like that. And why else is communication so important? Well, because those little anxious feelings that we get when we don't hear back from a guy, it's like a gut instinct, like we know, like, something is wrong here. And you may not know exactly what that is, especially in that moment, but that's the moment right there that you need to start paying extra attention. How is it that we went from talking all the time, spending all this time together, you're trying to figure out, is it love, is it lust? But he literally doesn't speak to you for a week and you had to reach out. Or he doesn't speak to you for a week and the conversation is very dull, very shallow. And why do we get those anxious feelings? Because we know that a guy that really cared about us, or more importantly, loved us, wouldn't do that. When you love someone and you really, really care about them, you want them to feel that. You don't want them to question where you stand. And like GL said, love makes the I don't text guys text. The I don't do phone call guys stay on the phone with you for hours. The I'm so busy guys turn into the I'm never too busy for you type of guys. That's what love does. So if you don't have that level of communication, then the connection isn't that deep. And I know we all love to think that our situation is so unique. And I'm not even going to take that away from you, because especially when you're in a situation, it really does feel so complex and just intricate. And I think we've all definitely been there. But the easiest answer is usually the right one. And when you have to start having 1,000 different discussions with your friends to get, different perspectives and piece together an amalgam of whichever ones, work for you, you have a problem, and it's not in Houston. It's here. We have to stop. As soon as that happens, that's a data point. And I think in all genuine fairness, if I'm being very realistic, this does get easier as you get older. The younger you are, especially before the age of 25, it's very difficult to incorporate all these things. You may hear it, but you won't be able to actually implement them fully. I mean, honestly, half the stuff that we actually hear, we don't really implement all the time anyway. But as you get older, it does, or at least it should, get a lot more easier, because the more no nonsense that you are, the more, established that you become, and you're not dating out of need anymore. You're dating from a place of strength and a place of wholeness and establishment. Dating becomes very different for you, because you really are not dating someone because you feel like they have something that they can offer you. It's a very, very different circumstance that you're dating from. So that's a whole other topic within itself, but it's something that's definitely notable. So like Gio said also in the article, you need to pay attention to 5 things. Number 1 being the confiding conversations, like what we mentioned before. Is he having meaningful, engaging conversations with you? Is he also sharing his life with you and not just trying to gather more intel on you? Because be careful of that, because guys also in the beginning like to try and consume a lot of your time sometimes, because it makes you feel closer to that person. The more that you share information with an individual, you genuinely do feel closer to them, without all the time realizing, oh crap, I've actually told him a lot and I don't know anything about him. Yeah. All we do is talk about ourselves. Be careful, because you can get sucked into that, where you're so busy talking about yourself because he's asking a whole bunch of questions and you're just answering them, right? But then you turn around and you realize that you are establishing this connection with this person and you don't know anything about them. The conversations have to have substance. It cannot always be this flirty, jokey banter all the time. I mean, nothing makes me more upset than like somebody who just constantly jokes all the time. And I love to laugh, don't get me wrong, but you can kind of just tell where it's just like, this person has no depth. Like, this person refuses to kind of actually have a conversation with me that's really of substance. Okay, it'll get serious for like a nanosecond, and then literally right after that is followed by another joke. Okay, perhaps pursue a career in comedy. That'll be more suitable for you than to talk to me, because we're adults here. Let's get it together. Okay, somebody that loves you is going to hold you accountable in a healthy way when you get off track. And it's gonna be somebody that is open to hearing your opinions without getting defensive. If you see an area that maybe he can work on or something like that, he's going to be willing to listen to you and implement that into whatever the issue is. Number 2 is that he prioritizes your happiness. And I thought this was so profound, actually, that GL said in his article that you don't need things, you need effort. And of course, yeah, depending on what your love language is, you may actually really enjoy things. But I think sometimes if we only think about it in that way, because especially the more a guy can afford things, you'll find yourself in a situation where all you have are things and there really is no effort. Because if it impresses us, it's always going to seem like effort. What seems like effort to you is not always effort to somebody else. You can be impressed if a guy is sending you a text message, but from his perspective, it's no skin off his neck. He also sent that text to 6 other people, okay? He copied and pasted it. But that's none of my business. The real effort that I'm actually talking about, as opposed to things, is the effort in actually getting to know you as an individual beyond just, the nice experiences. Like, does he understand the essence of you? Can he differentiate? Oh yeah, she would like this. Oh, she would love this. Is he sensitive to your needs? Oh, like, she's probably stressed today. Let me, give her like a foot rub. How can he cater to you? Because obviously he's prioritizing your happiness and that matters to him. So he's going to remedy that in the best way that he can. And that's not always going to come in the form of a Chanel bag. We love Chanel, but I'm just saying, the more you mature and you're in something of substance, that is not going to be the remedy for everything. Babe, I'm sick. I don't feel well. Chanel bag. Come on. It doesn't make any sense, okay? We have to live life, okay? You want someone that you can depend on, someone that just be sensitive to how you are as a person and tap into that because you guys are aligned in that way. Am I making sense? Number 3, I think. Oh my God, I lost count. He makes you a part of his world. And yeah, let's talk about this. Because a lot of these guys, we now know, hello 2020, that meeting the friends no longer means anything. Sometimes even meeting the mom no longer means anything. And that's why you have to actually be careful of guys that quickly do these things, because that means that they do this with everyone. I know for me, if I'm dating someone initially, I'm not going to introduce them to my parents. It's not anything serious yet. That's ridiculous. But if I love someone, of course, that's something that I'm going to do. If he loves you, of course, he's going to, do something like that. Certain things you just don't do prematurely. Back to what I was saying. Is he making you a part of his world? Okay. Significantly meeting the parents, sometimes meeting the friends, sometimes, because some guys don't put you in any part of their world, literally at all. So if that's the case, you will know whether or not you are being taken seriously when you start to meet the friends, you start to meet the family, things like that. Where does this guy fit into your life, and how does he fit you into his life? Like I said, do you get invited to the family gatherings? Does he invite you on trips? Is he inviting you out to events? Have you had multiple conversations with his friends? Do his friends know you on more of a personal level? Or are you guys always alone? Oh, I just want to spend time with you. I just like hanging out with you. Yeah, that's great. But eventually I'd like to kind of be a part of your world. I mean, I get that you really like me, but after a certain point, it's like, okay, what about like the rest of the world? Like, what about the real world? We can't just like stay in this box of a life. And if that's the case, if it only works when it's just us two, then it's not gonna work. So don't be fooled by the guys that wanna spend so much time with you. It's been 6 months. I'm nervous. And you have not met anyone significant at all. It's been 6 months and you don't even know what this is. But I think he loves me because like we always spend so much time together. And like, I don't know, like every time like I do call him, like he does pick up. And it's just actions always speak louder than words. Even if a guy loves you and he doesn't even say it, you can feel it in his actions. But you question whether a guy loves you or not when he either says, I love you prematurely, or you turn around and you realize, okay, are we even really like in a relationship? Because we've kind of just been in like a thing for, quite some time now. And first of all, I'm the one that has to initiate this conversation. Awkward. And I just don't really understand. I feel like I haven't met anyone. When anyone is serious to anyone, you want to start integrating them into your world. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but you're a joke. Like this person doesn't see a future with you, because you want to see how this individual integrates into your world. How does your family perceive them? How do they interact with your family? You kind of want to get that fit to see, that visualization. What does that look like? And if you don't have that, then you already have your answer. And whatever you do not fall for the excuses. Oh, it's gonna come. It's just that I don't like introducing people because the last girl that I introduced, she stole my cat, from my house. And, she just turned out to be a real psycho and she's crazy and all this stuff. Don't fall for the excuses. If he really, really loves you, he's gonna integrate you into his world in a meaningful way. You're not gonna just meet his friends one time for dinner and they have no idea who you are, because you would be very shocked. You think you're in relationships with these guys and you're going somewhere and their friends have no idea who you are. In fact, every Friday night, they're going out with a bunch of different girls. You met his friends on one Friday night. He's bringing out different girls on multiple Friday nights. Okay? Number 4, you retain your freedom. Trust issues have to be absent in order for love to occur. Period. Relationships are for the strong. Love is for the strong. You have to be vulnerable to be in a relationship with someone and love them and trust them with your heart. Can you do things on your own without him worrying about you being distant? Okay? You should be able to have certain conversations because you guys feel very strong and solid in your relationship. Oh, one time my ex-boyfriend did this, or or, oh my God, this guy was like flirting with me like in the grocery store. Just simple conversations without him being like, so, well, then he can have you then. Or feeling inferior, feeling like someone's gonna always take you from him. He should not have a negative reaction towards you just having a passing conversation. He should be able to differentiate why you would bring something like that up, and just for conversation purposes or whatever the case is. And it shouldn't be like rooted in insecurity and inferiority. And Gio says this so eloquently. He says that love is knowing a person will still be there when you close your eyes and reopen them. Because at the end of the day, if you're constantly being policed and he's always constantly questioning your motives, that's not real, trusting love. And lastly, number 5, you share the same outlook on life. Has the future been discussed? If you're dating, why hasn't it progressed into a relationship? If you are in a relationship, well, then what's the next step? Do you want to get married? Do you want to move in together? What is your actual plan? Love is not, why can't we just keep doing what we're doing? Why can't we just see where it goes? Well, that's because it's been 10 years. Well, that's because I've been dating you for literally 5 years. What is the next step? Like, why are we not discussing this? Love is a conversation about what this individual's intentions are about the future. Okay, if you ask, I know we've been together for a long time, like we have one last year before we graduate college. What are you thinking? Like after this, let's just say that as an example. And his response is, well, I just want to graduate first. What? Are you not going to graduate without us having this? I'm very confused here on like what that has to do with the price of tea in China. He should be able to actually have an answer instead of answering it with something else random. Like, what was that? So like I said, it's a conversation about his intentions with you and whether or not yours align with his. It could be as simple as this. He wants to move in together before he gets married. You want to get married before you move in with someone. The outlook is not the same. It's not. Those are very, very major things on both sides. If you do not know where you're heading, red flag. Confusion always breeds deception. People that play games love blurry lines. Why? Because there's no accountability. People that don't like to define and label things, they're not a label type of person, they benefit from having zero accountability. Well, I want to know why you were at my house, every night for a week, and then, you disappear for 2-3 days. I'm sorry, like, we're not like together or like that, like we're not like married and stuff. So like, why do you it doesn't really matter like what I do, like why do you care? Oh, that's because, wait, we're not even defining at all what this is. I never defined, you never defined what this is. So they can do whatever they want. That gives them a hall pass. Love is constant, stable, and elastic. No matter what the argument, misunderstanding, mistakes are, it is real when you are able to work effortlessly to get back on track. And when I say work effortlessly, I don't mean it's gonna be super easy, but I mean that the willingness to make it work is the same, that the effort is matched. There is reciprocity in your efforts to create a better future for you guys. So angels, that is the end of this video. If you guys have watched all the way to the end, first of all, mwah, I love you. I also want to announce that my podcast will be back on. Yes, we are presuming the Quality Queen podcast, which will be back on next Monday and every Monday following that. And if you aren't subscribed by now, what is going, if I could jump through this screen, I would. What are you doing? Subscribe right now, turn on your post notifications, share this video with a friend, share this video with somebody that you feel like needs to see it, because we need to spread this knowledge. We need to make people aware of what is going on. Okay, we all want to help each other on this channel and reach our goal of 200K, of 200K. Okay, I'm done. Do not forget that I love you and God loves you, and I'll see you in my next video.